everyone. Welcome to Alpha English Podcast, the place where learning English becomes simple, fun, and powerful.
If you want to speak English with confidence, understand real conversations, and improve faster than ever, you're in the right place.
Every episode, we break down English in the easiest way possible.
So get ready to learn, grow, and level up your English.
Let's start the episode.
So yeah, I finally tried that new cafe near the studio. Honestly, the coffee was a bit bitter for my taste, but the pastries, absolutely divine.
Oh, wait. Did you just say, for my taste?
Yeah? What did I do?
You just used one of today's exact phrases without even thinking about it.
No, are you serious? I didn't even notice I did that.
And that right there is exactly what we are talking about today. So today on Alpha English Podcast, we're talking about how to talk about taste, how to describe food and drink in English like a real English speaker. Not just it's good or it's bad, but all the rich, specific, wonderful vocabulary that actually makes people understand exactly what you mean.
And this is such a practical topic because we talk about food every single day. At restaurants, at family dinners, at work when someone brings in homemade food and you have to say something. You need more than, nice.
Nice. I've said that so many times when I had absolutely no idea what else to say.
We all have, but after today, you will have so much more to work with.
And before we dive in, if you are enjoying Alpha English Podcast, please hit the subscribe button and leave us a rating. It genuinely helps other learners find the show, and it keeps us making more content like this for you.
It really does. Okay, let's get into it.
So first things first, in English, when we talk about taste, we usually start with the 5 basic taste categories, and these are sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami.
Right, and most learners know sweet, sour, salty. Those come up early. But bitter and umami are where things get interesting.
Okay, so let's talk about each one with real examples. Sweet, that's easy. Cake, chocolate, fruit, honey, you know sweet.
Unless you're me and you say, too sweet for literally everything. I don't have much of a sweet tooth.
Oh, and that phrase, sweet tooth, that's a great one. If you have a sweet tooth, it means you love sweet things. My mom has a real sweet tooth. She puts sugar in everything.
My mom does that too. She once put sugar in a salad dressing, and I just quietly put my fork down.
Quietly put your fork down. That is the most polite possible reaction.
Okay, sour. Sour is that sharp, tangy flavor. Lemons, limes, vinegar, plain yogurt. If you make that face, you know the face, that's sour.
The squinting, wincing face, yes. And we can also say tangy, which is like a milder, more pleasant sour. The dressing has a really nice tangy kick to it.
That word kick is interesting. It suggests that the flavor hits you suddenly. This ginger tea has a kick. The chili has a real kick to it. It implies intensity.
So to summarize so far, sweet, sour, and we added sweet tooth, tangy, and kick. Keep those.
Now, salty. This is where it gets a little more nuanced. Something can be pleasantly salty, or it can be too salty, which we call overpowering, or just too much.
And there's a really useful phrase, well-seasoned. If food is well-seasoned, it means the salt and spices are perfectly balanced. Chefs love this word. This soup is beautifully well-seasoned.
Whereas if you're being polite about bad food, you might say it's a little under-seasoned, which is a very kind way of saying it tastes like absolutely nothing.
Yes, under-seasoned is the diplomatic option. Use it when you care about the relationship.
Actually, I want to stop for just one moment because I know some of you are thinking, I've heard these words before, sour, sweet, salty. I learned these in my first year of English. This is basic. And maybe you're wondering if you're in the right place. Here's what I want to say to that. Knowing a word and owning a word are two completely different things. You might recognize tangy when you read it, but could you drop it naturally into a conversation at dinner? That's the gap we're closing today. Stay with us.
Beautifully said. Okay, let's talk about bitter, because this one surprises people. Bitter is a taste that many learners avoid describing because they're not sure if it's a negative word, and it can go both ways. Coffee is bitter, but we love coffee. Dark chocolate is bitter, and people pay a lot of money for it.
So you can say pleasantly bitter or bittersweet, which is one of my favorite English taste words. Bittersweet means it has both bitter and sweet notes at the same time. Dark chocolate is bittersweet. Some orange marmalades are bittersweet.
And interestingly, bittersweet is also used emotionally in English, not just for food. It was a bittersweet moment, something that is happy and sad at the same time. So it's a very rich word.
One word, two worlds. I love that.
And then umami. This is the fifth taste, and it's the hardest one to describe. Umami is that deep, savory, almost meaty richness. It's in soy sauce, Parmesan cheese, tomatoes, mushrooms, miso.
The way I describe it to students is this. Umami is the reason that some food makes you want to close your eyes. It's that deep, satisfying quality that makes you say, there's something in this that I can't quite name, but it's incredible.
Yes, and the vocabulary around umami includes words like savory, rich, deep, hearty, robust. These are all words you can use when something has that complex, satisfying quality.
So instead of just, this is nice, you could say, this broth is so rich and savory. The sauce has a really deep, hearty flavor. Immediately, you sound like someone who knows food.
Okay, now we need to talk about something that most language learners completely forget when they're talking about food, and that is texture. How something feels in your mouth is part of the tasting experience.
Completely. And English has so many texture words. Let's go through some of the best ones.
Crunchy. That's the sound and feel of biting into something firm, like a crisp apple or a fresh biscuit.
Chewy, something that requires a lot of chewing, like gummy sweets or a tough steak.
Creamy. Smooth and thick, like a good pasta sauce or peanut butter.
Fluffy, light and soft with air in it, like a perfect omelet or a cloud of mashed potato.
Silky, when something is extremely smooth and almost slides on your tongue. A really good chocolate ganache is silky, or a perfectly blended soup.
Oh, and one that I always teach, tender. Tender is for meat or vegetables that are cooked so well they almost fall apart. The lamb was so tender. It's a big compliment.
And the opposite of tender, tough. The chicken was a bit tough. Or dry. The fish was unfortunately quite dry. These are important for polite complaint situations.
I once described a restaurant steak as chewier than expected to the waiter, and he looked at me like I had invented a new language. I think I should have just said, it's tough.
Chewier than expected. That's such a Luke sentence.
I was trying to be diplomatic. It didn't work.
I think about learners who practice this vocabulary at home, who read through the list and say it out loud to themselves, who write it in a notebook, and then when they get to a real restaurant or a real conversation, they go completely blank and they say, it's good, and feel like they failed. That moment of going blank, it's not failure. It's your brain working hard. The words you practice today are planting seeds. They won't bloom in every single conversation yet, but one day you'll be at dinner and silky will just arrive, and you'll feel it, that little click. That's what we're building toward.
That's exactly right. Let's keep going. All right, this is where we take it up a level. We've done the core vocabulary. Now let's look at phrases and collocations, the combinations of words that native speakers actually use.
A collocation is when two or more words naturally go together. In English, we don't say strong taste, we say strong flavor. We don't say light food, we say light meal. And when it comes to taste, there are some collocations that are absolutely essential.
Number 1, rich in flavor. Not just rich, rich in flavor. This suggests complexity and depth. This sauce is absolutely rich in flavor. You can taste the wine, the herbs, everything.
Number 2, full-bodied. This comes from wine tasting, but we use it for other foods and drinks too. A full-bodied coffee, a full-bodied red wine. It suggests the flavor fills your entire mouth.
Oh, and from wine, we also get notes of, as in, I can taste notes of vanilla and oak. Learners think this is only for wine experts, but actually you can use it casually. This coffee has notes of chocolate and hazelnut. It's sophisticated but not pretentious.
I love that. Number 3, melt in your mouth. This is beautiful. It means something is so soft and perfectly cooked that it dissolves almost immediately. The chocolate melted in my mouth. The salmon just melted in my mouth. It was perfectly cooked.
That is the ultimate compliment for food. Melt in your mouth. I'm going to use that forever.
Number 4, an acquired taste. This one is very useful. If something is an acquired taste, it means most people don't enjoy it the first time, but they grow to love it. Blue cheese is an acquired taste. Bitter coffee is an acquired taste. Strong beer?
Ah, and this is a great polite phrase too. If someone gives you food that you don't like, you can say, I think it might be an acquired taste for me. It's kind, it's not insulting. It just says, I'm not there yet.
Rather than, this is disgusting.
Right. Always avoid disgusting unless you are with very close friends.
So, in part 4, rich in flavor, full-bodied, notes of, melt in your mouth, and acquired taste. These are your advanced phrases. These are the ones that will make people look at you differently.
Now, I want to add something that I think is really important and doesn't get talked about enough. The way native speakers talk about food is very connected to culture, and there are a few habits that, once you understand them, will make your food conversations much more natural.
Tell me, what do you notice?
First, native speakers are very comfortable with exaggeration when talking about food. This is the best thing I've ever eaten. I could eat this every single day. I would marry this pasta. It's hyperbole, exaggeration, and it's used to show enthusiasm. Learners sometimes hold back because they think it's dishonest. It's not. It's a cultural pattern of expressing joy.
Yes. And the second thing is native speakers love to compare. This reminds me of the soup my grandmother made. It tastes like something I had in Italy. Comparing food to an experience or memory is a very natural, warm way to describe it.
Third, we often describe what's missing as well as what's there. It could do with a bit more salt. I think it needs a squeeze of lemon. It's almost perfect, maybe just a touch more garlic. This is considered a sign of someone who thinks carefully about food, not a complaint.
And finally, the phrase, for my taste. Luke used it in our opening without realizing. For my taste means, according to my personal preference. It's a little too sweet for my taste. For my taste, I prefer something simpler. It makes opinions sound personal and respectful, not universal judgments.
And we have come all the way back to where we started. For my taste. I really didn't plan that.
You never plan it. That's why it's perfect.
Before we get to our final summary, I want to say something. Learning English as an adult is one of the hardest things a person can do, because it's not just about grammar. Every word you learn carries a little piece of someone else's world, their culture, their dinner table, their jokes, their way of loving people through food. And sometimes you'll be sitting at a table with native speakers and you'll want to contribute, you'll have a feeling, and the English word won't come. That gap between feeling and expression is painful, I know it is, but every episode you listen to is quietly narrowing that gap, even this one, even right now.
Yeah. Let's do the recap. Okay, let's do a quick recap of everything we covered today. The 5 basic tastes: sweet, sour, salty, bitter, and umami.
Key vocabulary: sweet tooth, tangy, kick, well-seasoned, under-seasoned, bittersweet, savory, rich, hearty, robust.
Texture words: crunchy, chewy, creamy, fluffy, silky, tender, tough, dry.
Advanced phrases: rich in flavor, full-bodied,
notes of, melt in your mouth, and acquired taste for my taste.
And cultural tips? Use hyperbole to show enthusiasm, compare food to memories, describe what's missing thoughtfully, and use for my taste to soften opinions.
That is a complete toolkit for talking about taste in English. Real vocabulary, real phrases, real cultural habits.
And here's your challenge before the next episode. The next time you eat something, anything, even just a morning coffee or a biscuit at your desk, describe it in English, out loud or in your head, one sentence. This coffee is slightly bitter but surprisingly smooth. That's it. One sentence, one rep. Language is a muscle, and you just showed up to the gym.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Alpha English Podcast wherever you listen. Leave us a review if you can. It takes 30 seconds, and it genuinely changes how many people find the show.
And if you have a topic you want us to cover, a grammar question, a vocabulary gap, a situation where you never know what to say, send it to us. We read everything.
Until next time, keep listening, keep practicing, and trust the process.
Take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.